this point in time where Boosh wasn't going to exist. Like Angela said, I can't do this anymore. And I said, nah, I'm not going to let this happen. I will do whatever I can. And we got a first sale. I remember that to this day. I'm like, we can make this a business.
I think when you're starting a business, you have all of these reasons why you want to do it. There's the freedom, there's wanting to do something for yourself. But if you don't have a strong foundation, I think those things can really topple in on you really quickly.
We were at break even. Some things need to change, right? What are 3 things that we need to solve for? So we knew that there was those 3 things that we needed to get right.
Ever since high school, I've really struggled with my mental health. In university, I would wake up every day, panic attacks. And so when I decided to start the business, I was like, oh, this is something I really want to do. But then all of those things just started cropping up again. I made a series of decisions for my mental health to put myself first, to build a really strong foundation for myself. We really believed in the business. We really believed in Boosh. We really believed in our ability to do it. And so we decided we'll save up as much as we can to live off our savings for a year. Here we are now giving it our all, and it's going well.
So what was your step to getting your first 100 sales? What was the key? So can you describe your business to me?
So the business started during COVID because during COVID, I stopped doing something that I hated doing, which I think a lot of people can relate to. I stopped shaving, and the reason why I hated it so much is because I got so much irritation from it. And so I had a real love-hate relationship with it. I'd get the worst ingrown hairs and I'd get a lot of razor bumps, but it was something that I wanted to be doing. And so when the end of COVID came and I was like, okay, it's time to start shaving again, I went to go do it. And I think your trimmer was on the sink side of the sink. And I was like, oh, you know what? That'd be really good to just get rid of the initial...
The trusty warehouse trimmer.
The initial bulk of it, and then go on with a razor afterwards. And so I did that, and then I looked down and I was like, oh, this is good enough. Why have I never thought of this before? And so I went to go find a trimmer online, and I really couldn't find one that I liked. And a lot of them were really drop shipping or sort of those big corporate brands. And I guess I just decided then and there, what a great idea. I didn't get any post-shave rotation. I didn't get any of the ingrowns that I was doing. And so when we started the business, that's what I really, the pain points I really wanted to hit was a electric trimmer designed for females with none of that post-shave rotation that a lot of people get.
It just seems crazy that there wasn't lots of those already in the market, because I don't know if it's just guys, we just... Maybe it's not quite as efficient as a razor, but it's in terms of how short it can get the hair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is just, that's why all guys use it, because it's just the time trade-off is just so worth it.
Exactly.
And that part and plays with the Boosh trimmer as well. And it's not, I think with a lot of the male ones are targeted towards your groin and your ball sack and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas Boosh is quite universal. It's got multiple heads catering to specific needs, not just tailored to a specific area.
Yeah. And I think as well, I really have hypothesized why electric trimming hasn't been marketed to women. And I think it's because in the 80s and 90s, there was just so much there's so much advertising around in order to be feminine, you have to be smooth, which just obviously isn't the case. Femininity isn't related to your hair at all.
So you come up with this idea, you're we're going to create a bit of a movement here as well. And was there products in the supermarkets that were quite similar and marketed in a similar way at that point?
No, not at all.
It seems crazy to me, right?
It was baffling.
What was the light bulb moment where you're like, hey, this is actually going to work?
You're sitting on the toilet and you...
So far we've talked about balls, hair, shaving, irritation.
Yeah, we can go deeper.
We're going to get censored on YouTube.
I think it really was afterwards when I honestly...
It's a problem that you had and it was so personal to you.
That it was an issue that I almost faced every single day of my life because of the post-shave irritation. It's something that's so at the forefront of of my mind, because every single day after I shaved, my legs were so itchy. And so I think after, when that light bulb went off, I was like, oh, I don't have to put up with that. That's not something that I need to put myself through every single time I want to remove my hair. So
that's awesome. So you had the great idea. How'd you bring it to market?
You had the hypothesis that you would sell through Facebook, through Instagram.
Okay.
And then that's when your videos came into play,
Yeah.
specifically the lemon scrub videos, because it's like you're getting plopped in a desert and you have absolutely no clue where to go. And then YouTube is just a really good source because you can walk through step by step, actually physically the buttons to click, the things to change, the typography,
You're
everything.
taken on a journey on how to get there.
You started getting up the lemon scrub videos on the TV, and then I was like, look, I can help out a little bit because I had my fair share and what I thought I had in Shopify, but I had no clue what I was doing. And then you, at that point in time, is when you were mentioning some of the struggles with your mental health before, and how it kind of like it was a long-winded 2-year process to actually physically get the product out in what I would say the market in terms of advertising, etc. to the masses.
Yeah, so to how we got to where we are now is that, like I was saying, ever since high school, I've really struggled with my mental health. In university, I'd wake up every day, panic attacks. And so that I kind of learned to put a Band-Aid on it with, medication, all those sorts of things. And so when I decided to start the business, I was like, oh, this is something I really want to do. And so I started it, but then all of those things just started cropping up again. And it was not necessarily because of the business. I think it was just some of the experiences that I had in my life. And so there were a lot of decisions along the track that I was saying before that I could either choose to give myself the stability of having a corporate job or go in on the business, but the business didn't feel like that much of a viable option because you need money to live, right? So I made a series of decisions for my mental health to put myself first, to build a really strong foundation for myself. Because I think when you're starting a business, you have all of these reasons why you want to do it. There's the freedom, there's wanting to do something for yourself. But if you don't have a strong foundation, I think those things can really topple in on you really quickly. And so when we moved to London, I was like, okay, I'm really going to sort this out. I'm going to create like a really good foundation for me to build on. Like I was becoming the strongest I've ever been. And so we got to a point in London where we questioned, okay, where are we heading in life? What do we want to do? Where do we want to go? And I think we were both on the same page that we really believed in the business. We really believed in Boosh. We really believed in our ability to do it. And so we decided we'll save up as much as we can to live off our savings for a year. And that kind of brings us to where we are now because, we then moved back to Australia, moved in with Andrew's mum, and here we are now giving it our all. And it's, going well.
And there was a point in time where Boosh wasn't going to exist. Like Angela said, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But I had so much belief in Angela and the business. I thought, like, it's so crazy that there isn't such a bigger market for it. And we felt as if we really needed to give it a good crack because there was 2 elements of it. One, there's a financial freedom, but I had belief in Angela as an individual. And we also wanted to just see it for ourselves and see how far we could take it and what we could learn from it because we've got different skill sets. I've got a finance background, Andrew's got analytics and supply chain. So we've got the ops and finance, which I feel as if is like the vegetables that you're talking about. It feels like it's sort of the boring stuff, but that's actually how the business essentially runs at the end of the day. And I came in and I said, nah, I'm not going to let this happen. I will do whatever I can to let the business run. I was running $5 a day on Facebook, like absolute pennies compared to what we're spending now / could be spending. And we got a first sale. I remember that to this day. I'm like, we can make this a business. Like if someone's willing. And my ads were shocking. Like I didn't know how to use Canva properly. I didn't know how to use anything. I was actually disgusted. It looked as if I did it on Microsoft Word. Like, it was terrible. And that's when I got introduced to the world of creative strategy. And then from then it was just a slow build. And then here we are today, like just like comparison to last year. It's just wild, the difference. And it's all through.
The rate of growth for sure.
Yeah.
So was this in London or is this in Perth when you launched the business finally?
I guess we technically launched the business when we were in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So we launched the business, but we weren't advertising online or really doing much at all. I think in my mind, I was like, I'm just going to sell this trim on Instagram and get a lot of growth through organic strategy.
So you got a few sales through organic socials at that point?
Yeah. And
no, it was just friends. We got our first sale. Yeah, we got nothing on organic. Like, we had nothing. Like, Instagram was bare. Yeah. We got our first sale. We were on holiday actually with a group of friends. So and that was through Facebook advertising because I knew that in order to appeal to the widest net possible, we need to get ourselves onto Facebook marketing and have some sort of shot at appealing to someone somewhere in the world, whereas organic can be quite limited on your outreach.
So then you went to London and you were just like, I really still want to do this business.
Yeah.
But now isn't the right time.
Now isn't the right time.
I need to get my head straight. I need to build the foundations. I
Yeah.
think that's like a very mature way of going about it. It's more mature than I go about it. I've obviously had similar mental health conditions before.
Yeah.
And I'm more just like, I'm just going to bury my head in it. I'm just going to do it. And trust me, it has not worked out. It's caused more issues. I think like you guys seem like you're in every area that you do, you're very, you're super driven, but also pragmatic and like calculated.
Yeah.
Is that like, so what do you guys do as a living? Yeah, because I feel like it's in your career as well.
Yeah. So I was a data analyst.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I was a finance manager.
Yeah, with a
Gotcha.
chartered
Previous
accountancy.
finance business partnering. And it's like to what you were saying before is I'll never forget this day. I was at PlayStation, didn't really enjoy what I was doing. The thing is I get bored every 2 years, and I got to that 2-year mark and I just thought that I can't be doing this for much longer. And I was like, do I either do I get another job or do I go full in on Boosh?
Mm-hmm.
But at that time I was like, well, we don't really know. We weren't really sure on what we wanted to do. So I was like, I'll get the stability of another job. And that job literally scared me out of ever wanting to have a job again. And as soon as I had that job, I said, I just knew that I wanted to quit the job and give Boosh a full crack. And then all these things just happened. Like the situation on your day in London when a couple of situations happened, we thought, okay, let's build ourselves in order to get ourselves to a good enough foundation to give it a good crack. So we got the safety net of enough savings, and we just had the ambition where I'm all in and now Angela's all in.
Ready.
Let's go. We're ready. We both knew it was like our time to
That's
go
awesome.
for it.
So you know that you want to get shit done. You know you want to run your own startup. You know the product still. Nobody's even done it, even with that break properly. So what was your step to getting your first 100 sales? What was the key?
We were at break even. We were getting enough orders, 3 to 4, to sort of see it was almost like a side hustle at that point. And then when we moved to Australia, where we are now, we thought, okay, like some things need to change, right? I had delved into a lot of creative strategy things because I knew that was the way that I was going to sell to people. Because a lot of people, they go onto Facebook Ads Library, they rip someone else's ad, transcribe it, and then make it themselves, which I didn't want to take that approach. I wanted to really learn the creative strategy. I'm terrible at writing, and that's where AI came in and helped a lot, but we can park some of that. And we knew that, okay, if we come here, what are 3 things that we need to solve for? We need to, 1, reduce our NCAC so our margins aren't getting compromised. 2, we want to increase the awareness of the brand, so improve our social media. And email marketing just didn't really exist for us. So we knew that there was those 3 things that flowed into the funnel that we needed to get right. And in terms of the 100 sales, I'm going to say like we were releasing 1 ad every 4 months, but we were still getting enough sales for the business to be profitable and have enough cash to pay for 1 inventory order every 4 or 5 months. And so that's where we fast forward to today. And we're like, okay, in order for this to exceed, like what do we do? And funny enough, Claude Code had just come out, or it was not just come out, but I was watching the D2C Diaries YouTube, and they say, I was playing with Claude Code over Christmas, and it created me all these apps, and so I was like, holy shit, this is the way of the future. And I was tinkering away with it, trying to do a lot of things. And funny enough, I was on YouTube, and your AI video came up. And I was just like, this guy knows. And I saw I just saw the bit that hooked me was you're using Higgsfield with the image gen. I thought, because I just knew there was something that I was missing, and it was my static output. And because I just couldn't do anything to save myself. I didn't know anything about shadows and whatnot, but you can one-shot prompt these models now to get some really looking things. And then that's where I was introduced to Daily Mentor, and I signed up and I was like, nah, I'm having a laugh here. Like, we are not capable of doing this. We're just not ready yet. And I was going to pull out of the onboarding call in like 5-10 minutes. I was like, nah, fuck it, I got to do it. Went on and I was sold instantly. Like, so I think it was that point where we knew things needed to change, and I get shiny object syndrome really badly. And I was like, we just need to focus on what? We just need to focus on the elements that are going to move the needle, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't want to focus on the fluff or any of that shit. I just want to get focused, really hyper-focused, and have a plan forward.
Yeah, and that's what Daily Mentor was for us, right? You have 2 people that are really willing to do the work, but there are so many different things we could focus on. And I think when Andrew came to me and was like, oh, I was thinking of signing up to this thing, I was like, you know, it's great. It's a really good point of reference. It's a really good anchor for us. It's a really good foundation. I love good, strong foundations. So I was like really happy to, I guess, spend what we had in the bank.
Yeah,
on
literally
Daily
dropped us
Mentor.
down to lower than 5K, but I thought I'm willing to put the money in to get the output, the proposed output, and it's given us some output. Yeah.
What's something that you've implemented that one of our coaches has taught you that's made it worth the investment?
For me, I think the thing that really has helped me hone in was one of the first conversations we had with Brody. Like, a misconception that I had was, I was like, oh, we're a small business. We need every single sale that we can get. So we should appeal to everyone, appeal and get everything we can. But one of the first conversations we had, he said, you need to really define who you're marketing to. If you've got a winning persona, really hone in on that person. And by honing in on the one persona that we knew was working for us, we've been able to really, I think, what's the right word?
Standardize our messaging.
Yeah, standardize our messaging, get the brand messaging really strong and really give that person the entire package instead of trying to give different bits to different people.
Yeah. And your answer?
Gosh, honestly, the mental mashups is probably where I get a lot of value on, because you jump on and you'll speak to someone, and it was specifically around our offer, right? Because I'm obsessed with getting the slickest PDP possible and making sure that it factors in all the variables. And it was about it was the offer. And I always thought offer was it's how much discounted you get, 10, 20% off. But no, it's a bit more than that. It's what are you selling to the customer within the first 3 seconds, and how does that offer structure itself? And it was all the variables to do with the first 20% of the product page. And it was okay, well, you're selling a product, and how do you do it differently to everyone else? And how do you make sure that the messaging is really tailored specifically towards the messaging that we're having in the market? And then you start looking at everything and how it all feeds into the bigger picture. Whereas it was just a little bit disjointed. I would go on to someone, or I'll copy something from someone, and I would take a bit from one product page within this product page and try extrapolate onto mine. But it was the offer, and it was from Tom, actually, Tom and Geordie. They all said, look, what are you trying to achieve? It's the first principles thinking is what is the end goal here, and what are you trying to achieve here? And it was the offer that really started to make a lot more sense to me, and it all flowed through really nicely. And now we're satisfied. We're cool, this is where we're at. Now I feel as if we can spend more time and actually just scaling and finding those winning ads and expanding from there.
It's almost like a process where firstly, you've got the ad. So make the ad really good. That gets the person to the website. Then you need to make sure the website's really good. And then they'll get to the actual product page where there needs to be an offer, right?
Yeah.
So you go fix the ad, then the product, then the website, then the offer. And then if none of those work, you've got a wrong product. In providing you execute on all of those. Yeah. So it was you just had that last pillar, because I've seen your website. It's awesome. I assume you're using AI for it.
Thank you, yeah. I've literally, I don't have a developer at all.
Yeah, it's very cool. I will have to show you our new AI offer creator. Where it dissects your website, looks at the competitors, and actually creates different offers that can actually work.
Yeah, that would help, because I still question our offer all the time. I'm so meticulous, and I just second guess myself all the time, and I'm just obsessive over getting it right. However, I think what I've learned from a lot of the calls and a lot of people in the community, it's just would you rather try get it 100% right or 70% right and get it out in the market and test? And I'd rather do that 70% and see and just get some data, because we're very data hungry people. We love it, and that's actually what's going to tell you how or what you should do and make those decisions. We're very data-driven people. And we've got Geordie as our mentor, who's been really, because he's similar in terms of how he likes to approach things. So we work really well with one another.
Yeah, there's lots of components of the offer. There's obviously the structural component, which I think we provide a video where there's 27 different types of offer, buy one, get one free, loyalty program, buy two, get one free, that kind of stuff. But then there's also the formula around the perceived time it takes to actually get results, the guarantee that you can actually put around those results, and the trust around that as well. So like looking at you guys, if you're like promising no, razor bumps or ingrown hairs or something like that, you just put a guarantee around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're the kind of fun offers that you can
Yeah,
do.
like the pain-free guarantee, we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it works well.
It's funny with AI, it's almost addictive because you had your baseline level of work that you could do, and then now you can do 10 times as much.
Yeah.
And it's like now you want to do 10 times as much work at 10 times. And it's like addiction almost.
Literally
because it
keeps you up
hits
at night.
with the dopamine.
It's stupid how good it is. And what I like about it is we now have the ability to have a thought or an idea and create it ourselves. Like we don't need to go through all these hurdles. We don't need to go out and get developers or designers or any of these blockers to where you're going to get, and you can just do it yourself. Like, how powerful is that?
I think as well, we're not at a stage where we can afford that, right? So it's like it's being able to take what we can do currently and take it 10 times further than what we would be pushing out. Say, for example, our emails. Like, I think I wrote up an email and was like, okay, well, I don't really know how to develop this. But then you put it into Claude Design and it spits out the beautiful thing. And it's our work, but it's just, I guess, put a ribbon on it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the main thing that you built that's provided a lot of value using AI?
So I went on to Claude Code and I said, I can do better than Triple Whale. What can you give me? And I built a dashboard that's a finance dashboard. And it focuses on the metrics that are specific to our business. So I like to look at my contribution after ads every day. And if I'm in the green, that means I've got cash coming in. And then I look at things like our attachment rate. So how many customers who buy a trimmer are buying a blade within X number of days? What's our returning customer rate? And so I've just got this like really specific dashboard that's tailored to my needs that is built towards what I need and can actually provide me value on a day-to-day basis. And it looks at the leaks. So are we spending too much on ads, or will our ads not be profitable? And it looks at our NCAC, and it also highlights what our break-even NCAC. Because I think a lot of people just fly blind in terms of you're on your Facebook ad account. What's that number that you need to exceed in order to remain, in order to either be break-even or profitable? And then there's the whole metric of like, what's your ROAS number and how does that feed in, or what do you need your ROAS to be in order to have, I think it was 20% left over for your net profit. And so I can look at all this and on one page. And within that dashboard, I've also got my forecast. So I run my full suite forecast on there on a weekly basis, which shows me my cash in and outs, and it forecasts 4 weeks out. And that's also tied in with our ops as well. So we're looking at our inventory and we can see our burn rate to see, okay, in 2 weeks, you need to do an order. Otherwise, you'll run out of stock in, say, however many weeks. And then within that, we've also got our funnel. So we look at end to end in terms of the percentages of people that land on the page all the way through to the checkout. So everything from GA4 is all pulled into this dashboard, and everything in terms of all the metrics and all the areas within the business, or all the channels that we feed into, where are we seeing the leaks, and what are the faults that we need to fix there. And below that, we've also got our retention dashboard, which looks at our subscriber rate, what our churn rates are, first day churn, because we offer customers flexible subscription. So you do have some customers who might buy and then just churn straight away. So first churn metrics, like really getting everything to do with everything that's going to affect our financials all in one place, built just for what is tailored to me.
And live as well.
And live, yeah, it's like instantly live.
Yeah, very cool. So primarily the analytical side of the business at the moment, what's kind of the key structural parts of the first prompt that someone should use in Claude Code to get that? Maybe just the first dashboard, a first iteration of it.
I'd start in Excel and figure out, so I'm an audit background, so you want to make sure that the AI model is getting it correct. So first, make sure that you can calculate your gross margin yourself. Make sure you've got all the metrics that you would do in order to be comfortable with what the dashboard would provide, and say, okay, I've got this spreadsheet, here are all my metrics, and I would like you to create a dashboard that's specific to our needs. And you can be really, really blunt with them as well. You don't have to be so specific, but you can just tailor it towards your business in a way. So I always like to start with like a little bit of background or a little bit of or an example to feed it. Because if you fly it blind, you end up getting into a bit of a hole. Claude Code and Codex release the slash prompt called goal. And what it does is you give it a specific goal and you try to be as specific as you can with the prompt. And what it will do is it will spend as much time as it needs to in order to get to the end goal. So you could use that goal prompt and you can keep it quite simple and say, hey, I want a bit of dashboard to do this. And literally what you can do is very cheeky, but if you see something you like or you use a product that you like, just take this, the URL and pop it into any of these models, and they will go through and they'll look at all the documentation, but okay, these are some of the things, these are limitations, and these is what you're asking for. This is what we can do. And try to do it in plan mode if you can. With the goal, you don't have the opportunity to do it in plan mode, but the goal will give you an output. You can then paste that output and run that prompt into your model, and then you'll be able to get it to a pretty good stage using plan mode.
That's really cool. Yeah, I haven't actually used plan mode. I've used Codex and Claude Code religiously.
Yeah, they're good. So starting off, like we go in blind or we don't really know what's happening. So always starting off in plan mode, you basically get a PRD almost of like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what you've told us the objective is. And if you use VS Code, you can actually look at the plan and there could be a specific snippet that you don't agree with and you can highlight it and you can make a comment on it. And I like to do that. It's almost like you're auditing it on Google Docs. Yes. And you then ask it to keep planning. You plan it up until a stage where you're comfortable with the outputs and you just let it rip. So always plan mode I would start with if you're a newcomer to it. And diagnose it yourself. Like, don't bother going on Google or asking people. You can ask the models and you can even ask what the risks and if there's any security or safety measures that you need to take into consideration for it. And it will tell you these things as well.
Yeah. We obviously have AI mentors, but sometimes I'm just like, you don't need to message us.
Yeah.
Just ask the AI and how to get around this problem.
Yeah.
What's its solution for it?
Exactly. And what the AI mentors are good for, it's like, what approach should you take? What's fundamentally going to benefit you in that position? Like, you don't need to ask it specific things on the different elements of what you're creating. It's more like, okay, what are some things to consider and what's a good approach to what I'm trying to achieve, rather than just like, oh, how do you change something using Claude Code, or how do you build this using Claude Code or something like that?
Yeah, I think the where AI mentors or even just mentors that know AI come in handy is when it's like, how simple is this thing going to be to achieve? And it's because some things that seem incredibly complicated, let's say scraping 20 ads libraries, the Trustpilots, compartmentalizing that, turning that into briefs that you can then use, that's actually so easy. It's like literally you just ask the AI, this is the end goal that I want to achieve, and it will be able to do that. Whereas cloning a website 1-to-1 pixels, it would be so difficult, even in the current state of AI, just because trust me, I know. I've tried to do it. However, creating an alternative where it has room for interpretation and a higher converting page, it's going to annihilate. It's going to do it so easily. So it's like, I think that's sometimes where, because AI is a yes man, right?
Yeah,
For the most part. It's like, yeah we can do this. It would be a 6-step process, and you get to the end and it's like, no, this isn't going to work.
No.
Like,
and you spend so much time, and that's the problem we face. It's just like we get so consumed in AI. And I've gone down many traps before. I tried to build like a full suite app once for my creative strategy. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm not even making enough money to even think about doing this. And I really dialed it back. But what we've got now is I've got my creative strategy end-to-end dialed in. So we got a creative run that we run every week, and it spits out 10 different concepts for us, and we mix it based on founder and statics. And what it does is it then transfers that into a creative brief, and it spins off a couple of sub-agents, one to do our direct response video scripts, and another one that creates prompts for us. And at the end of that, it will give me an amount of briefs, and I can either send those to Angela to record, or I then get multiple briefs in order for prompts that I can put into these models. And I've got a one-shot prompt that runs in my terminal that will then automatically generate all these statics in the background for me. And it's got a bit of a gate saying, okay, here's the scoring metrics. If you score less than a 3, we're going to pop it into a rejected folder. If you score more than a 3, we're going to approve it. And then I go on to those. And 8 times out of 10, I generally have to jump in Canva and play around with it.
Yeah.
But ever since ChatGPT Image 2.0 came out, the output has been
That was
phenomenal.
just recently. That was
Yeah,
like,
and
2 weeks ago, was it?
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the output is the way it renders text is significantly better than
Because that was
in a
the
banana.
missing piece, right? Like even Higgsfield was struggling with that side of things.
Yeah.
So that really is the missing piece between automating 500 creatives a day, realistically.
Yeah,
Which I know brands have done. 9-figure brands, they're introducing 500 statics. 95% created from AI, but to teach that to someone that's non-AI technical has been really difficult.
yeah.
But I do think, this ChatGPT 2.0.
Yeah, it's great. And the beauty of it as well is I'm creating these prompts, but they're so specific to my brand because I work out of a project folder and it knows my brand. It's got my DNA, it's got my voice, and it's got all the things that and it's like a thought partner. And whenever you get an output you don't agree with, take that image, pop it in and say, hey, I don't like this, I don't like this. But okay, yeah, I can see some of these variables. Here's where we're gonna improve the prompt. Now my prompts literally look like essays, like they're massive. But I can now one-shot ChatGPT Image 2.0 and make it look like it was shot on an iPhone.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
the stage we've gotten to at the moment. And also, ChatGPT is amazing. You can go on Pinterest, take any photo and ask it to regenerate. It will do it like for like. Obviously, you can't do that because you're ripping something, but it's a really good foundation to get an idea and be like, oh, okay, this is an idea, this is a setting. I'm going to take that and I'm going to make it specific to my brand. You can literally change everything, but it gives you a really good idea and all of what to do. So we've got a creative strategy dialed in. And if it wasn't for that, we generally wouldn't be here in this position today because we can now do what the recommended output is, which is 10. And it's 10 that are very specific,
10 creatives a week.
10 creatives a week that are very tailored, or they're very, the output's good enough that I would, if I was to make it myself, I would be happy. Whereas I feel as if I got into the world of like 2050, I wouldn't be able to manage it as much as I could. So we're very specific on what we output now.
People get too fixated on the numbers of inputs. Like, hey, I need to create 50 new creators a week. It's like, no, you just need to create 2 winners. That's
Exactly
really,
that.
really need to do whatever that number is. And for the vast majority of people, volume will negate luck simply because their creatives aren't that good in the first place. Whereas, if a brand is really, really solid and they're working with some incredible creators or they're founder-based ads, chances are you are going to need volume to actually beat them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and like you don't just let the AI models rip. Like you've got to manage them as well. So if you were to give this brief to a junior creative strategist or a senior creative strategist and they gave you their output, you would, whatever you would tell them or however you would give them feedback, give your models the feedback. You just need to make sure that you document it somewhere, right? Because you're working with what's literally a superhuman with short-term memory loss. So how do you make sure it can reference those all the time?
So where's your business in terms of revenue now, thanks to the use of AI?
You've got this all dialed in.
Well, we're currently at 70K a month, but having grown 266% in the last 3 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we were like 10K a month and the 266%. And I did some modeling on Monday and we could literally double our ad budgets and literally, and what I could see is manageable. We could just double our double our revenue figures as well. Like we're running on 5 ROAS on our Facebook ads, and this is full AI driven. I mean, in terms of the scripting, Angela will get a script and she'll really tailor it towards her because she can specifically talk about how it's finder related and the problem. But a lot of this creative strategy is all built around the use of what I've been able to scrape on many different variables, but 260% growth. We're running at 70K, and it just feels like it's endless at this moment. But we're keeping it within. We're managing it within what is capable for our needs. Right? We've got the throttle at a stage where we know that we can manage it.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what Daily Mentor's been really good for. Is that it feels like we have a really strong foundation for that growth. Like it doesn't feel like we're going to grow at such an accelerated pace where we start to drown. Like we know that the building blocks that we're standing on are really solid.
Yeah, for sure. If you give one more tip around AI for someone to take home and implement, what would it be?
Jump on and work in an isolated folder and start off with 3 problems that you have in your business, 3 very specific ones that you just hate doing. It could either be something so simple, like I used to hate extracting reports from Shopify and building it into my dashboard that I created on Excel. So things like that, and start working out of that isolated project, and which is called a repository, and get into the habit of understanding what Git is. Git is version control, meaning that if you ever make a mistake, you can wind back, and it's a lifesaver, trust me. So you learn the foundations of Git. So it's Git commit, which means it saves some versions locally, and Git push means it goes into the cloud. So make sure you get really comfortable with those variables and start in that project, and call that project something that is specific to your business. Call it the business name for all I care. But when you're in that project, just start building it out like an operating system. I've built what I've got out at the moment. It's not just a repository now. It's called what's called a monorepo, which has got everything. It's got absolutely everything you can think about, and it's got all the variables of our business. But start with a project. Think of 3 problems that you have. You can even use the goal prompt as well to do that, and be like, okay, this is something that's really struggling with, and jump on and work out from that. And work in sprints. Like, don't try get to some flashy nice little dashboard. Start very small, work for a week, feedback, make some iterations, and work in weekly sprints in order to get to your desired outcome. But just, start in the project and go from there. It's hard because there's so many different things I could offer, but I would just, people work in isolation, they work in their desktop, and they might just feed into different projects, but you're actually putting the model at a disadvantage, where if you just isolate everything and let that grow out with your business, you're going to see 10 times more output by just working the isolated project.
That's awesome. And if you don't mind me asking, how are you going with the stress of the business and your mental health?
I think it's going well. It's going okay. It's manageable, I'll say.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I really have learned over the last 6 months is to work with myself as opposed to against myself, which for me essentially means that it's so easy at the end of the day to sit there and think, oh, I should have done more. I could be doing more. But instead, not fighting reality and saying, okay, I've done what I can today, and knowing that it's enough. And then approaching the next day like it's a new day and just continuing to build. So
that's super inspiring. You're both very inspiring. You're both,
Thank you.
both
So
very
are you.
inspiring in so many ways. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Appreciate
worries.
it. Thank you.
If you liked today's episode, make sure you go click the link below and check out Daily Mentor.